Here we have a pre-owned 2015 Honda Accord Hybrid in the EXL trim level. This one comes in modern steel metallic on black leather interior. The powertrain consists of a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder mated with a CVT, and you get 2 electric motors as well. And that gets you 196 horsepower, 226 pound-feet of torque. Coming around on the front end here, we do get LED daytime running lights, housing headlamps. And even though it's got kind of a minimalist exterior look to it, I still like how they did it to make it look like the regular Accord. And then we get these really nice 17-inch turbine look wheels there. We get passive keyless entry on the front 2 doors. Then over here, I like how they put the wood grain there. We get power windows, 1 touch up and down for the front 2 doors. And then we have power door lock controls here, rear window lock here, power mirror controls, right side, left side. You can turn them off there. You can adjust anyway. Memory seat controls there, cup holder there, decent sized pocket. Then we have our economy mode, lane departure warning we can toggle, traction control. And then here we have our power driver seat with power lumbar support. Before I check out the rear leg room, I want to give a huge shout out to John Roberts Toyota. Here's some of the features that come on this Accord. Well, let's go ahead and check out this leg room. So back here, pretty impressed by the legroom. My knees are just barely touching the back of the seat. And when they're like this, how I normally sit in the back anyway, actually can't touch, you're not touching the back of the seat at all. So that's really impressive. Like I said, I'm 6'3" with longer legs. And then here, seat pockets behind both seats. And then we have our AC vents here for the rear. And then center seat folds down for cup holders. Grab handles here. And then I like that you can actually pull that down, you can hang your clothes there. That's pretty neat how they did that. But before we make our way to the back, I'm just gonna push this for the gas cap and then pull up here for the trunk. So there's where you put your fuel there. And of course, this is rated for 50 miles per gallon city, 45 highway, which is incredible. And then if you want to pop the trunk from the back, I had trouble with it earlier, but you push this there, or you could just pop it from the front, which is easier. Now, whoever had this car had a subwoofer and amp and all that in here, so that's why it's probably why it has an aftermarket radio and why it's a little loud in there, even with the volume all the way down. But under here is where they keep that battery pack, and that's why it takes up some of the trunk space, but still pretty good size, honestly, even with all that space taken up. It's just not huge. But I'm still very, very impressed. And of course with that, you're not gonna be able to fold the seats down. But if you're getting 50 miles per gallon, you might be all right. Now coming around to the front passenger seat, I like that we get a power front passenger seat. Then we have a lockable glove compartment here, owner's manuals and all that still in this one. But overall, I remember this was a dream car of mine when they first came out. I just really like having that kind of fuel mileage to be able to get 50 miles per gallon in the city, 45 on the highway. Just really, really remarkable, honestly. Especially in a car that could fit at least 4 6-foot or taller adults comfortably, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and pop this. Ooh, the hood's heavy, but there is the hybrid powertrain there. Electric motors, and then the 2-liter inline 4. Now to hop in the driver's seat here. Nice leather wrap steering wheel here. Really like how easy it is to grip as well. And then over here we have this is where you'll see your backup camera, and then we'll also see your side cameras. Now this one runs that backup camera off the same line there, so it's pretty neat to have it in both spots. But then this one, like I said, this has an aftermarket radio, so you get Bluetooth, XM, Spotify, Pandora, HD radio, so of course your FM, and then you can hook up an HDMI port and all of that. So I like the radio personally. And then you're able to hook up your subs and all that is nice. Just has a little bit of feedback. probably because all the electronics that are involved in this kind of vehicle, cross wires or whatever. But you do have your dual zone automatic climate controls down here, which is nice having a hybrid. You can cut that all the way off. Use that button to decide where the airflow is coming from. Fan speed here, cut your AC on and off there. And then you can close off your vents there. Defroster for the mirrors, and rear defrost there, front defrost. And then here, little stow area, and this one with the aftermarket radio, you can plug in your USB input. Close that off. You get a 12 volt. Then you have another USB and an aux input down there. Pretty good sized storage space to put your phone and then run the charger off of that. And we get 2-stage heated front seats for the driver, front, and passenger. And then to shift the CVT, hit this lever, reverse, neutral, drive. Then you have your battery mode, or your B mode, excuse me, which kind of specializes in your regen to charge that battery up. And then you can even hit this button here to toggle your EV mode. And then you have a handbrake here, cup holders here, center console cubby space there with a 12 volt there, and then sunglasses holder. You do get a universal garage door transmitter, which is nice. And then you even get a power sunroof. So one touch open, you can tilt it as well, and it actually goes all the way back, which is really nice. And then one touch close too. So really, really impressed. And you just get a lot, especially buying one of these pre-owned. Voice recognition controls, and then you have your phone, Bluetooth phone controls there, volume, and then this will toggle between your trackless or radio stations when it's set up, which is probably not set up in this one because you need to have quite a lot hooked up. But this here takes you to your settings on the screen up here, and then you can go through all of that, and then these arrows actually work for that, going up and down and toggling everything. And then over here we have our cruise controls, and then we also have our gauge cluster controls here, these three, and you can go through that middle part, which is pretty neat. I'm gonna leave it there. And I do like that we have the tweeters here as well. But that's pretty much it. We just have our push button start. And finally, we have our key fob. And then I did forget headlamp controls over here. So off, corners, auto, high beams, or headlights, and then we can do our high beams there, flash them there. And then over here we have our windshield wiper controls, intermittent, low, high, one time, and then we can adjust our intermittent here, and then pull up here for the front wiper fluid. So next, let's go ahead and take this 2015 Honda Accord Hybrid EXL out on the road for a quick test drive. Now, right off the bat, I will say this this Accord Hybrid is pretty quick, and I'm just really impressed with. Of course, you have the electric motors, which I knew I was gonna get quite a bit of torque from there, but still, really rather fast off the line. Now, like I said, in this B mode, that kind of helps you with your regen when you let off the gas before hitting the brake. And then you can, of course, toggle your EV mode when applicable. You got to have enough juice in your battery. But overall, really like the driving feel. And I've read other reviews of this car. Like I said, I was in the market for one at one point, and people said that the steering was kind of numb feeling. But for me personally, it's what I would expect from an EV anyway. So, not really disappointed there. Nobody's behind me, so. But really love that regen mode because it just coasts me perfectly into that corner without having to hit the brake. I was going one pedal there for a minute. Now the battery's charged up enough so I can use the EV mode here and still slightly accelerating, but really, really good feel there. Now it does use its battery up quite a bit, and I'm sure there's degradation involved here because this does have 110,000 miles on it. But still, for that, I mean, very, very impressed. And of course I can put into the regular drive mode and kind of coast as I let off, instead of getting that full regen braking feel that you can get in this car. Now it's not one pedal drive by any means, but it's a strong regen when you're on that B. But still, as you can see, the battery's at 2 bars now and the EV mode's canceled. And after I charge it back up, it'll allow me to use it again. But coming down this back road here, still getting close to 30 miles per gallon just cruising here. And I believe the engine is charging the battery while it is pushing the front wheels. But overall, the driving feel for me, even though it is rather numb, it feels like a Prius to me. And when you're driving a hybrid, I feel like that is what you expect, or maybe that's even what you want. I love not having a jarring feel in the steering wheel, because I'm not using this as a sports car. I'm using this because I'm trying to save the planet or I'm trying to use as little gas as possible. So I kind of want one of these now. I love the fact that you can get 50 miles per gallon city, 45 highway, and especially if you're used to driving EVs or hybrids, this is just really intuitive in the sense that you can put it into that high regen mode and you can really try to break MPG records with this thing relatively easily. And overall, cabin acoustics in here have been great so far, even with this kind of mileage. I will say the leather, it might be because it just got detailed, but the leather is pretty loud. Just as you squish around in it, kind of rag, but doesn't really bother me at all. And then another good thing I just noticed, I had an EV mode, but after the engine charged up the battery, it went back into EV mode by itself. And then of course put it into the regen mode, and then you could charge it up even more. And then you can come out of a corner and really see what this thing's got, which I'm gonna do right now. Take this econ off, and then we're just gonna, well, that wasn't nice. But I'm gonna give a little bit of space here and put my foot all the way down. So you do feel that instant torque up front. We're gonna put the econ back on. So like I said, this car, even though it only has 196 horsepower, that 226 pound-feet of torque really gets you up and going. And I mean, I'm still getting 20 miles per gallon putting my foot down, accelerating, almost. So that's pretty impressive. And then look at this passing power here. Just a really impressive car, even for a 2015. I am so impressed by this. Now I'm guessing in the battery mode, maybe I can't use the cruise. I'm thinking that's what that was. So in the B, make sure you put it back in the drive so that you can get your cruise control going. And we do have the lane departure warning on, so no one's around. I'm gonna see what it does. So there it is. So it just beeps at you. But in terms of how this car is held up over 110,000 miles, leather seems to be in fantastic shape for the miles. Cameras and everything's working fine. All the lights are on. AC's working great. And most importantly, it is a Honda, so I'm not surprised, but just still drives like new in terms of just how it gets up and goes. And like I said, of course, you're gonna have battery degradation to worry about, but you can replace the cells in those relatively affordably. If you get a car this cheap and it is a Honda, you could probably get 300, 400,000 miles out of this car. But yeah, everything is in good. Even the steering wheel is very I don't see a lot of wear and tear there. The previous owners of this vehicle obviously took care of it, because I'm not even seeing scratches around, but the shifter's got a tiny tad bit of wear on it. But I mean, I'd be comfortable buying one of these just because it's an Accord hybrid. You know, Accord, as long as you keep that oil change, they'll keep running. And it just seems like the battery is still holding up like a normal hybrid would as well. And when this thing is in EV mode, you're killing the MPGs, I'm telling you. And it really, I have a Pacifica hybrid, and I feel like this is more efficient than that in the sense of how it uses the tiny battery that it has to still give you a full EV mode when you can. But like I said, still just a really impressive car. Especially if you're just worried about saving money, saving on filling up at the pump. Can't go wrong with this. And I mean, I had my foot in this car half the time, and the MPGs have actually gone up from what it was before. And of course, this is not the standard. It's not getting 29.3 miles per gallon, but this is just the last trip that was set up for it. But still, a really, really impressive car. And this will bring me to the end of my review of the 2015 Honda Accord Hybrid in the EXL trim level.